Could you kindly stand as you welcome the Premier? Yes, please be seated. A pleasant morning to everyone. Welcome to July's edition of the Premier's monthly press conference. To those returning nationals and to our visitors and friends who are here with us in Nevis, I say a most hearty and pleasant welcome to each and every one of you. Welcome to Queen of the Caribbean. These press conferences are designed to give insight into the plans, programs, and policies of the Nevis Island administration. The press conference this morning will be designed as follows. The Premier will give his usual statement, his usual update, after which the members of the press corps will be given the opportunity to ask their questions. In so doing, you're kindly asked to give your name and the organization which you represent, just in case we have to give any follow-up information. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further gilding the lily, join me in welcoming to the podium the Honorable Premier of Nevis, Mark A.G. Brantley.
Thank you, P.S. Daniel, and good morning to members of the press and members of the public. I'm delighted to be here for the July edition of the Premier's press conference. This is a commitment that we have made that every month, without fail, we will try to come and face the press, take your questions, and provide information to you. As usual, I will give you an update and then open the floor for questions from you. Let me start by welcoming all of our nationals who are already here and those who are on their way. I am delighted, absolutely delighted, at the response that we've had from our nationals living in the Caribbean, living in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, and elsewhere, who are making their way home and having family reunions and the like right here in their homeland, beautiful Nevis. I continue to invite those who are not yet here to make plans to be here, and I continue to invite our brothers and sisters on St. Kitts also to come home to Nevis, because this is part of their home. In fact, many on St. Kitts trace their roots to Nevis, and so I invite you to come home as well and be a part of all that we are doing. So for those who are already here, welcome to Nevis, and I look forward to seeing you. I assure you that it is my intention to be out and about this season, and I'll certainly look forward to seeing and mixing and mingling with as many of you as possible during this historic time as we celebrate Culturama 50 and our homecoming. So, thank you and welcome home. Let me start by way of information to indicate that the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services, those based here in Nevis, would have kicked off their summer safety program on the 8th of July, and it concluded on the 12th of July. Their theme was Big or Small, Fire Safety for All. The program was a tremendous success. They had 102 children from around the entire island, and the objective of the program each year is to teach life skills to the future generation. The areas covered this year were fire safety, water safety, environmental health, crime and violence, traffic safety, basic first aid, disaster preparedness, and financial literacy. The program, it is noteworthy, is a brainchild of retired fire station officer, Mrs. Natalie Foe, with the first program in 2002 in St. Kitts and 2003 in Nevis. There was a 2-year break due to COVID-19, but they tell me that they're back now stronger than ever. The St. Kitts Nevis Fire Services Nevis Division wants to thank all the donors and those who are intricately involved, as their commitment has contributed to the success of the program for 2024. And so I commend them, because I think that they continue to do incredible work. As I indicated, ladies and gentlemen, Culturama 50 is now in full swing. Many returning nationals and visitors are already on island to witness the spectacle that is about to unfold for the Federation's Golden Jubilee celebration. I'm delighted to announce the successful completion of all construction work on the main Culturama venues. These venues are now fully prepared to host the upcoming Culturama 50 events. I want to go on record to express my sincerest gratitude and the gratitude of the administration to Minister Eric Evelyn, our Deputy Premier and Minister of Culture, and his team at the Ministry of Culture, his Permanent Secretary, Huey Sargent, his Director of Culture, Antonio Abernathy-Libert, and I want to single out as well the project manager, Mr. Alistair Thompson, who we took from Public Works and asked him to manage this project in a tight timeline in order to get it over the line in time for Culturama 50. We also want to thank all the contractors and subcontractors involved in this very significant upgrade to our venues. And for the benefit of the public, we have upgraded the cultural village, we have upgraded the cultural complex, and we have upgraded NEPAC. Those are the three main venues for purposes of our artistic exhibition, the exhibition of all that we bring in terms of folklore, music, culture, and pageantry. And so that has been done. I did my own walkthrough just last evening, and I commend the entire team. We employed over a dozen separate contractors, and I'm told over 60 subcontractors on that project. And so if you want to know what the impact of the project is beyond the buildings, it's the impact in the local economy, where the government is spending in the local economy in order to stimulate activity. Most of that money that would have been invested there would obviously be circulating locally here, having been spent in wages and buying supplies, lumber, building materials, etc. All of that was done here. So, as I like to say, we're building Nevis by us and for us. All of those contractors were local contractors. All of the builders, the artisans, the carpenters, the masons, all of the electricians and plumbers, all Nevisians. And they did an excellent job. Last weekend, we witnessed 3 signature events staged as part of this year's festival. On Friday, the 19th of July, the Culturama Committee staged a Wet Fete event at the refurbished Cultural Village. The event, now stapled on the Culturama calendar, was a vibrant and lively affair. Several local entertainers and a visiting act from Dominica provided entertainment, which was met with great enthusiasm by the audience. The event has been hailed by all as a resounding success, with the vendors at the Cultural Village reporting increased sales, a clear sign of its popularity and importance on the Culturama annual calendar. On Saturday, July 20th, the National Bank Soca Monarchs semi-finals were held at the Cultural Village. The competition was staged in 2 categories, Groovy and Power. The following 7 Groovy finalists were selected to compete alongside the reigning Groovy Monarch Delhi ranks. They are Empress, Speedy, Easy, Rockodan, Pakis, Daddy Tosti, and Ras Brown, with Climate as the alternative. Similarly, 7 Power finalists were selected to compete alongside the reigning Power Monarch Daddy Tosti. These are Big Six, Ras Brown and Rockodan, Climate, Empress, T-Bone, Jeezy Sparta, Invincible, and Ras Kelly. On Sunday, July 21st, the TDC Senior Kaiso Fiesta was held at the Cultural Village. 14 Calypsonians competed for a spot in the TDC Senior Kaiso Monarch Finals. The following 9 finalists were selected to compete against the reigning monarch King Hollywood. They are Astro, Empress Lyric, This and That, Nutsy, Invincible, Murray, Suki, Lady Destiny, and Daddy Fresh Cool, with Lady Smooth being selected as the alternate. The TDC Senior Kaiso Monarch Finals will be held on August 2nd at the Cultural Complex. TDC Group, the sponsor of the competition, is partnering with the Nevis Island Administration through the Nevis Culturama Committee to make a Toyota Raise available to the Culturama Senior Kaiso Monarch winner this year. So whoever wins the competition is walking away with a brand new car. This evening, the Miss Dainty show will be held at the Cultural Complex. 10 contestants from all 5 parishes on Nevis will compete for this coveted title. The show starts at 8 p.m. and all are asked to support the event, which is on the fringe of the Culturama 50 calendar of activities. So tonight, Miss Dainty show at the Cultural Complex. Please go out and support. On Wednesday, July 24th, the Greenhouse Band and Nevis Solid Waste Management Authority Junior Kaiso Finals will take place at the Cultural Village at 8 p.m. 14 junior calypso singers will compete against the current champion, Queen Nevia. I invite everyone to come out and support the young calypso talent from across St. Kitts and Nevis. There will be no admission fee for that event, so it's a free event. The official opening for Culturama 50 will be held at the Cultural Complex this week Thursday, July 25th at 7 p.m. Everyone is invited to support the Nevis Culturama Committee at this special event, which promises to be informative and entertaining. And I believe that I can indicate to you that on that evening, we will have a renaming ceremony of the Nevis Cultural Complex. On Friday, July 26th, the Nevis Culturama Committee will award some 70 persons for their contribution to culture and Culturama over the past 5 decades. The event will be held at the Malcolm Guichard Recreational Park at 8 p.m. You'll bear with me, members of the press. I do have quite a bit of information to impart, and I will try to get through it as quickly as I can. Let me turn to the all-important sector of tourism, and to indicate that we now are delighted to have direct air contact via Cape Air between Nevis and St. Croix. This route offers convenient twice-weekly flights operating on Fridays and Sundays, significantly enhancing travel options for both residents and visitors. The inaugural flight departed on July 12th from St. Croix's Henry E. Rolston Airport to Nevis's Vance Amory International Airport, marking a significant milestone. This new service by Cape Air is a testament to the growing demand for seamless travel from St. Croix to Nevis. We are thrilled to collaborate with Cape Air to introduce this route, which undoubtedly will boost tourism, enhance business connections, and foster stronger ties between our islands. Special introductory rate starts at US $328 from St. Croix to Nevis and $349 US from Nevis to St. Croix. The flight schedule is as follows. Cape Air will depart St. Croix at 11:40 a.m., arrive in Nevis at 12:45 p.m., depart Nevis at 1:50 p.m., and arrive in St. Croix at 2:55 p.m. For more information, please visit www.capeair.com. Let's now turn to our attention to the Mango Festival. We celebrated 10 years of our Mango Festival this year, and I believe by all accounts, even the harshest critics admitted that it was a wonderful experience and a resounding success. Here, members of the press and public, are some of the highlights. Patrons for the Mango Fest 10 came from all over the world, from places such as the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, parts of Africa, Antigua and Barbuda, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, St. Eustatius, and of course, many came in droves from our sister St. Kitts. We have recorded tourists staying in hotels across the island who came specifically for the Nevis Mango Festival. The vision of increasing heads and beds and extending the tourism season is being realized. When the Mango Festival was introduced 10 years ago, and I'm proud to have been the minister to have introduced that festival, Minister of Tourism, the plan was that this would be something in the off-season to encourage persons to come to the island. And it was a brilliant idea, crafted as it was by our then CEO of the Nevis Tourism Authority, Mr. Greg Phillip, and the board, who came and got my endorsement to put this project together, marrying mango with food, because, of course, where in the world has better mangoes than Nevis? Nevis is mango country. And with over 40 varieties of mangoes here, we thought it was a natural marriage between the mango, the world's sweetest fruit, and food. And so that is how the Mango Festival came about. We started from very humble beginnings over at Wally in a little vacant lot there, to the point now where we are at the MGR Park, that purpose-built facility, and we are seeing the fruits, no pun intended, of the Mango Festival now coming to fruition, that we can all see that vision being realized. We, this year, exceeded the 2023 attendance. We had 2,500 patrons for Sunday's event for the love of mangoes in 2023. And this year, we're proud to say that we had 2,536. So we beat it by 36 persons. We had 36 more patrons this year. Last year, everybody was talking about what a huge crowd. And because of that large crowd, we had some logistical problems. I shan't get back into those because we have apologized time and time again for those problems. This year, we heard, we listened, we learned, we adjusted. And so there was enough food for all patrons in terms of quantity and variety. This year we increased the number of chefs from 30 to over 50. There was an overall increase in numbers throughout the festival, as Saturday alone had over 100 participants on the Passport Food Tour, visiting 10 eateries throughout the island. Every parish in Nevis was visited. And I want to commend the organizers, because sometimes I think we're so focused on the big event on Sunday at the park that we ignore the significance of this Passport Food Tour. What this Passport Food Tour did was, it was what we call community tourism on display. We took persons up into Barnesgut, we took them into Cotton Ground, we took them into Hanley's Road, into Prospect, up in Fountain, and we involved small eateries in the villages who would ordinarily perhaps not get this level of exposure, and people loved it. We took them in convoys around the island, and they absolutely loved it. And so I thank all of those who participated, and of course the eateries, and I hope that they would have appreciated the extent of exposure that they were able to get from this Passport Food Tour. There was also an increase in overall sponsorship for the event. We moved from just $38,500 in terms of sponsorship in 2023 to $156,500 in sponsorship in 2024. We are thankful for the increase in sponsorship from various ministries and companies. Sponsors increased from 8 last year to 19 sponsors this year. Additionally, we already have commitments for next year. You know, success is like that. Once you start to succeed, people want to come on board. And so I thank all the sponsors without whom we can't do this. And I make the commitment today that next year it's going to be even bigger and better. We had coverage from news stations to various social media influencers to even major local companies such as National Bank and Rams. We also had coverage from our Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, and yours truly, the Premier, via their Facebook pages for 2 years in a row. There were at least 25,000 views on social media for various Mango Festival events. Increase in participating chefs for the cook-off competition, as 4 chefs were present. Chefs came from Nevis, St. Kitts, Antigua, and New York. Congratulations to our 3-time winner, our very own chef from Four Seasons, Miss Margaret Ann Castro and her team. Mango Fest 2024 showed a 52% increase in revenues this year over 2023. A new VIP experience dubbed the Mango Lounge was an added attraction specifically for the 10th anniversary 2024. And from all indications, it was very well received. A 10th anniversary innovation was the introduction of a homegrown talent concert entitled The Mango Concert. This was also well received, and it featured homegrown artists, including, of course, our own Abena Amri and Denise Gordon. Our thanks to the CEO, Mr. Devon Liebert of the Nevis Tourism Authority, Mr. Farron Jones, our marketing director there, our consultant, Mr. Noah Mills, our valuable sponsors, volunteers, social media influencers, stakeholders, patrons, performers, and everyone who had something to do with making the Mango Fest 10th edition the outstanding success that it was. But let me take a moment, members of the press and public, to praise the workers at the Nevis Tourism Authority, the team that is there. Oftentimes when events are successful, the politician takes his credit and those who are in charge take their credit. But I was there firsthand to see the level of work put in by the employees, the team at the Nevis Tourism Authority, and I publicly applaud them today. They were selling tickets, they were working into the nights, they were attending the bar, they were doing everything to ensure that this event was a success. And so I thank all who were involved for the fantastic work that they would have done. And I believe that it was a spectacular kickoff for Culturama 50, coming out of a very successful Mango Festival, our 10th anniversary edition. The St. Kitts and Nevis Restaurant Week for 2024 was held from July 11th, and the featured theme ingredient was papaya. At least 25 eateries across Nevis participated in Restaurant Week, and they presented a wide variety of appetizers, entrees, and desserts, all featuring papaya. This year, several new establishments hosted signature events, including Papaya Carnival at Lime Cabanas, Sunset Dinner at the Nevis Heritage Village, and the all-white Moonlight Promenade at Sunshine's Bar and Grill. The Ministry of Tourism, which is the spearhead agency for this particular event, would like to thank the hard-working steering committee, all patrons and sponsors for their support of Restaurant Week 2024. Let me switch to a project that's near and dear to my heart, because it's in the heart of my constituency, as I like to call it, the metropolis of Bath. And that is the Bath Stream project. I am proud to announce today that the Bath Stream project is complete. There are some minor matters to be attended to, but I believe that we can say that the project is now done. The project is still some metal railing to be replaced and a shed pool to be resurfaced. We have to put in signage and the power and telecoms, but beyond that, the infrastructural work is done. The site boasts a newly paved driveway, which was asphalted just this week, 14 parking spaces, picket fencing, repainted railings along the lower stream, 2 gazebos to provide outdoor seating, a new roof for the shed pool, refurbishment of the original well on site, a welcome center, bathrooms, and changing rooms. The visitor amenities are set in beautifully landscaped gardens, a waterfall and fountain designed by local sculptor Marvin Chapman. Throughout my administration, you're going to hear that word local a lot, because we are empowering our local people to demonstrate what it is they have to offer. And so when you go to the Bath Stream, and I'm hopeful that the people of Nevis will enjoy what has been built for them. When you go there, everything that you see there would have been done by local persons, including the fountain that has been designed by local sculptor Marvin Chapman. The project, I would want to publicly commend Permanent Secretary John Hanley, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism. I want to commend Sylvester Meade, who works in the Ministry of Tourism and is charged with heritage sites, because those 2 gentlemen were the driving force. In fact, Mr. Meade, and just this morning I spoke to him, and I reminded him that all during COVID, when most people were preoccupied with the concerns about health, he kept telling me, we need to get this project done. We need to get this project done. And so I want to publicly thank him. He was passionate about it. He was there every day, and he delivered on that project. But of course, the project could not have been done without the assistance of all the contractors. I want to thank my friend Patches, and he was there, and he was the main contractor on the site, and he did a fantastic job. I used to go there, I used to push him, Patches, I need this done. He responded very favorably. I want to thank him. I want to also thank those who did all the stonework, those who did the landscaping. I believe if you have not gone there yet, members of the press, please take a visit. It is a fantastic addition to what Nevis has to offer, our brand new Bath Stream with all of its amenities. We now, as I've said, have changing rooms, we have bathroom facilities, we have all that you need. And we look forward to that site continuing to be of value to the people of Nevis. Just so you understand, because someone said to me, you plant too much flowers down there. What we're trying to create is a wellness area. We want, when you enter that facility, that all your cares and worries fall off your shoulders. We want you to go into the pools and get your hot bath, but we also then want you to relax. Read a book. Oftentimes, I think we forget the value of leisure, the value of relaxation. And so this government has certainly been investing in providing spaces for our people to relax. And so we expect our visitors to use the facility, but we also hope that our local people will use it. It is now the type of facility where you can take a book, you can take your Kindle. For the artists who paint and those who do various things of that nature, we invite you. Go there, set up your easel, and paint. This is the idea behind it, to create an environment under the trees with flowers and enough foliage to make you relax. Dip in the pool, come out, you change, you do all that. But the idea is to promote wellness on the island of Nevis. And that is where we are with our bath stream update. So congratulations. I think the last thing that we need to do now is to erect the sign. And I believe that those signs will be erected shortly. The next phases of improvements, because people have already been asking, will be the continued work at the Bath Hotel, being undertaken by the Nevis Historical and Conservation Society, as well as efforts to rehabilitate the original bath house, which, as you know, was damaged by fire. So right now what we're going to do is clean it up and improve the environs, but we hope ultimately to be able to rehabilitate the bathhouse itself. Let me switch to a project which also has been creating waves, and that is the Pinneys Beach upgrades. I feel very proud of this project. I feel proud of this project because it came about through our partnership with the Republic of China, Taiwan. And when many people would go and ask for a building or ask for a road, we went and we asked that the vision of the late Malcolm Guichard to have a park at Pinneys, that vision be realized. And through the assistance and partnership of the Taiwanese, that project was designed and built. We opened the Malcolm Guichard Recreational Park, named in honor of Malcolm Guichard. And then we set about, having opened that park, to then engage in the rehabilitation and development of what we call the second phase, which is the beachfront area. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that you must, and would have to be the harshest cynic if you have not gone there and seen the value of what has been created. The vision of my cabinet and this government was to create a must-see, must-go area for families and persons who are visiting and our locals to go and dine and walk around and enjoy all that Nevis has to offer. And I'm pleased now that there at Pinneys we have a variety of offerings in terms of food. We even have a microbrewery offering the first beer to be brewed on the island of Nevis. We have various restaurants offering a wide array of food choices. We have lounges, we have upstairs lounges, we have an environment which offers you parking, enhanced security, bathroom facilities, changing facilities, restaurants, bars, and the idea really is to create for Nevis, and not just Nevis, but the Federation, a must-go area, an area where you can feel comfortable going out with your families to enjoy an evening out. Again, it's about leisure, it's about quality of life, and that is what we've sought to do. Now for the critics, because of course with everything in a democracy there will be critics. Let me just say that the Malcolm Guichard Park is the most widely used facility in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. It is a matter, I think, of some pride for the government that not even the government can get the facility to use when we want it sometimes. Last year, in a year of 365 days, that facility was rented 289 times. 289 days, let me put it that way, out of 365. For various events, weddings, photo shoots, conferences. Everybody has gravitated to that venue. And so if there was a debate of the value of it, I think that the value is now obvious. And so I really want to thank all that have been involved. I want to thank from the bottom of my heart the Republic of China, Taiwan for their investment. I want to thank Mr. Michael Perkins, who has been the lead on that project for the government from day one. I want to thank the construction firm Guangzhou, who have done an incredible job there. I want to thank them. This project has boardwalks. In fact, we have just finished a second boardwalk along the area, beach area from Sunshines coming across. We have added now, and if you haven't been there in the last 2 or 3 days, we have technicians who have come in from Taiwan, And those technicians have added some display systems all around the venue. So those display systems can now be used to give information. We can talk about if something is happening, if there's danger, we can give an alert, but also we can advertise what's going on the island. When you go there, I believe that you will be impressed. And I want to thank my colleagues in the cabinet who have supported this vision 100%. We have delivered, and I'm grateful. And I know that our people coming home will see for themselves. I am not here to persuade you of anything. Drive around. This is your island. You know Nevis. You know how Nevis was, and you know how Nevis now is. Drive around. See it for yourself. Experience it for yourself. And then determine whether or not something good is happening on this island. So I really want to thank all involved in this significant project. And I just want to say, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, that we had some debate for a long time about the splash pad at the park. This is an area where the water comes up from the ground and the children love it. The pad was out of commission for a while because of some technical issues. Those have now been resolved. And so the splash pad is now back in operation. I say that especially for the groups from St. Kitts. Schools have complained that they brought their children there and the splash pad was not functional. So it is now fixed, and I say praise God for that. We are moving forward. The Nevis Garden Competition 2024. So, the Ministry of Tourism, in collaboration with the Department of Agriculture, recently announced the winners of the 2024 Nevis Garden Competition. The results are as follows. In the vegetable garden category, first place, Taisha Barry. Second place, Deslin Sturge. Third place, Carolee Wallace. In the flower ornamental category, first place, Ulrika Stevens. Second place, Carolee Wallace and Sheila Hanley. They're tied. Third place, Kilwati Singh. In the fruit garden category, first place, Isilma Daniel. Second place, Mahadeo Prasad. Third place, Mirthlin Elliott. And in the business institutions category, first place, Knickknacks Cafe. She did tell me she will get first, but here she is at first. She's right. Knickknacks Cafe. Second place, Passions Bar and Grill. Third place, Cleveland Gardens. Congratulations to all of the winners, and the ministry encourages them to continue to beautify our island and grow more local food. Ladies and gentlemen, an announcement that is near and dear to me. I want to announce that Candy Carter, multiple Emmy Award winner from the United States, an African-American woman who's won Emmy Awards for her production of the Oprah Winfrey Show, that she will shortly be named as an ambassador to Nevis with a duty to build awareness amongst people of diversity, including but not limited to race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, age, and religion, by using her network and influence to increase travel to Nevis. Mrs. Carter, who is based in the United States, through her network, will seek out and share opportunities for our tourism officials to meet and interact with influential people of diversity. So we have named her to the honorific position of Ambassador of Diversity for the island of Nevis. The reason for this is that I had the pleasure of entertaining Mrs. Carter and her husband Joe, who have become friends here on Nevis. And they made a comment which I thought was instructive. They said they love the island, but they didn't see enough visitors who looked like them. And I thought that that was interesting. And I said to her that we had, for a very long time, been seeking to get more of the African-American market to holiday here. When we look at the demographics, this is a multi-billion-dollar travel segment each year. But they go to Jamaica, they go to the Turks and Caicos, they go to the Bahamas. Very few of the other Caribbean islands get much business from this important demographic. And so we set about doing some new things to make Nevis known within that community. And I want to publicly thank Candy. She and her husband and the entire team, they have been partners working for free because they love Nevis, they fall in love with Nevis, and they're prepared to partner with us. And as a consequence, we have had quite a number of individuals who have come to Nevis directly as a result of their engagement with Mrs. Carter. And so we're pleased to name her to this honorific position as our diversity ambassador. As part of that effort, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, the Nevis Tourism Authority and the Four Seasons Resort have partnered with the Ladies Playbook, on their very first annual Ladies Playbook retreat. The Ladies Playbook is an exclusive community dedicated to providing support, information, and the connections needed for an NFL National Football League family to thrive wherever their football career takes them. They are committed to simplifying the relocation process and ensuring that every woman feels empowered and equipped for success in the sports industry. This again is an effort to do more targeted marketing, as Nevis is the perfect place for high-profile celebrities, tourists alike. And so, this effort is being led by a woman called Atoya Burleson. Now, Mrs. Burleson is the wife of famed NFL player Nate Burleson, who is now the co-host of the CBS Mornings with Gayle King. You might have seen him on television, and Nate and his wife were here recently. We brainstormed and we came up with this idea that they are going to come and have a special retreat here for the ladies of the NBA. Not the NBA, forgive me, the NFL, National Football League. And the idea is that they will go back, we hope, with good stories and a good message about our beautiful island, and that we will see more NFL players and their families choosing to holiday, invest, buy homes, and be part of Nevis. This is all part and parcel of the effort that we are seeing. Let me switch very quickly to the Ministry of Health, Gender Affairs, and Social Empowerment. We would like to congratulate Dr. Jamoy Pemberton and Dr. Vernal Thomas, Nevis's newest doctors, who recently graduated from Latin American School of Medicine in Cuba. Both doctors are expected to return home to join the health fraternity in advancing health care on the island of Nevis. We extend our gratitude to the government of the Republic of Cuba for providing these opportunities for our students to pursue higher education. And I extend commendation to Dr. Pemberton and Dr. Thomas. If I can for a moment just single out Dr. Pemberton, because she's from Brownhill, just to say that I know that her mother and father will be very proud. And all of us are proud in Brownhill. Her father is no other than the famous King Bingi, Carlisle Pemberton, and her mother, I like to call Queen Joan Pemberton. And they are the parents of Dr. Pemberton. And so we commend her and Dr. Thomas for going to Cuba, learning Spanish, being taught in Spanish, graduating, and coming back to us now as duly qualified medical doctors. Praise be to God, and I am delighted for them and their families. On Friday, the 19th of July, the Flamboyant Nursing Home commissioned a brand new Arjo Huntley hydraulic shower trolley, valued at some US $9,126. The trolley was generously donated by the Swiss Embassy, and I would want to publicly recognize Mr. Ernest Amri, Honorary Consul General, the Embassy of Switzerland, who was present to hand over the trolley. The ministry takes the opportunity to thank the Embassy for their partnership in enhancing the provision of care to residents at the Flamboyant Nursing Home. The board, a good development, an important development, the board of the Gender Affairs Girl Mentorship Program was installed on Tuesday, 9th July, at a brief ceremony held at the Gender Affairs Conference Room. The board comprises 9 members. Executing Agency Officer, Ms. Catherine Forbes, Counselor, Mrs. Tebron Joseph, Youth Representatives, Ms. Neela Jones and Ms. Diandra Archibald, Mentor Representative, Mrs. Pamela Martin, School Representative, Ms. Diane Hobson, Private Sector Representative, Mr. Randolph Boddy, and Civil Society Representative, Ms. Patricia Claxton and Mr. Roger Fifield. The first cohort of girls to be mentored will be from the Charleston Secondary School. A call for mentors will be announced soon. So this board is really the entity that will steer this program as we introduce mentorship and formalize it in our school system and in our education system generally. We are doing this through our Ministry of Gender and Social Empowerment. The SKN Move Nevis chapter will be hosting its annual It's a Nevis Knockout Obstacle Course Challenge on Saturday, August 17th for the preliminaries and quarterfinal round, and on Saturday, August 24th for the semifinal and final. Interested individuals can register with Ms. Sheila James at the Health Promotion Unit. Contact 469-5521, extension 6393. Let me tell you a bit about the summer programs. I think those of us who are old like me would remember a time when in summer we found whatever we found to do. We were on our own, and our parents did their best. Well, Nevis, modern day Nevis has moved well beyond that. I mentioned the summer camp put on already by our fire and rescue services. Well, we have a number of other camps that you'll hear about. Let me tell you about Camp Refresh. This is the annual summer camp from the Community Development Team, and it is currently ongoing at the Charleston Secondary School. Camp Refresh commenced on Monday, July 15th, will end on Friday, July 26th. Their theme, a fun summer experience with shared learning, captures the efforts of the department to provide children with a positive experience where they can gain knowledge, build character, which is very important, and socialize with their peers in a fun environment. There are 80 children registered for Camp Refresh. Activities include arts and craft, learning values, character building sessions, and a field trip to the Nevis Heritage Village. There will be a movie day and fun day. Where? At the Malcolm Guichard Recreational Park, pressed into use yet again. The closing ceremony will be on Friday, July 26th, where the children will display their arts and craft. The Best Kept Village competition. It came to a close as judging was held on Monday, July 15th. There were a total of 6 participating villages, 3 for the small category and 3 for the large. For the small category, we had Cades Bay, Westbury Village, Barnesgate Village, and Cox Beaumont Montpelier Estate. In the large village category, we had Jessop's Village, Brown Hill, and Hanley's Road. The winner of the Best Kept Village competition in the large category is Hanley's Road. And the winner of the Best Kept Village in the small category is Barnesgate. We want to take the opportunity to commend the groups who facilitated the cleaning of their respective areas. Their participation in this competition, as well as their hard work and efforts in keeping the community clean, is indeed commendable. We congratulate the Empire Sports Club for facilitating the work at Hanley's Road and for winning the large village category of the Best Kept Village competition. Permit me also to add that the judges were very impressed with the work that the group did regarding the replanting and the painting of a mural by the bus stop in Hanley's Road. We also want to express congratulations to the Barnesgate Community Development Improvement Club for facilitating the work in Barnesgate Village and for winning the small category of this competition. We commend them, the people of Barnesgate, for consistently keeping their village clean and orderly. As well as encouraging the participation of community members, we want to commend those who help to strengthen civic pride in their communities and promote social cohesion and community spirit through healthy competition and collaboration. We applaud the efforts of all. And since I'm on that, let me continue, ladies and gentlemen, from this rostrum to impress upon us the need to keep our island clean. I mention that because I try most mornings to do a bit of exercise, which includes some walking. And as I walk, I continue to be very concerned about the number of plastic bottles and styrofoam containers which are clearly being thrown from vehicles as people drive by. I am encouraging our people, please. We say Nevis nice, it's because it is. But it can be even nicer if we were to do the simple things that we were taught as children. None of us grew up in pasture, none of us grew up in the bush. No matter how poor we were, our parents instilled in us certain civic pride and responsibility. Stop throwing garbage out of your windows as you drive by. If you're having some water, you're having some food in your car, wait until you get to a garbage receptacle and dispose of your garbage. When I walk and I see plastic bottles all around, and I walk in the area of Coal Hill and Cox, it is appalling. So I'm appealing to our people. Please do the right thing. And if you're driving behind somebody and you see them dumping garbage out the window, toot your horn, make some noise, let them know it's not acceptable in Nevis. There's really no room for that. And I urge our people to show more civic pride. I don't care whether you're from Nevis or you happen to live in Nevis, but you come from someplace else. Nevis belongs to all of us. It is the little that we have. Let us take care of it. So I make that hopefully passionate plea that we stop disposing recklessly of garbage and we keep Nevis nice. Let me move to the Disaster Management Department. A number of updates from them. In collaboration with the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, we would have successfully executed a national simulation exercise during the period 17 to 19 July 2024. The objective of the exercise was to identify the strengths and weaknesses of the national hurricane preparedness and response agencies. NGOs, faith-based organizations, volunteers participated in the event. Let me just say that the event was a simulation of a Category 5 hurricane, a storm that was named Ingrid, and I was able to attend, and I was very impressed at the extent to which the teams had assembled. The EOC was activated. I was able to speak to the Honorable Prime Minister, and we spoke about conditions on Nevis and conditions on St. Kitts, and I felt good to know that we are preparing. As I like to say for hurricanes, we prepare for the worst and we pray for the best. We are now in the throes of the hurricane season, and we urge everyone to continue to be vigilant. On Thursday, the 18th of July, the Nevis Disaster Management Department, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, received a shipment of medical supplies and first responder kits from the U.S. NGO Direct Relief. This donation will enhance the response capacities and operational readiness on the island. The Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, CDEMA, has confirmed that the 13th Comprehensive Disaster Management Conference Youth Forum will be held in Nevis during the period 3rd to 5th December 2024. All youths who are interested in featuring or participating in the event are asked to contact the the Nevis Disaster Management Department at 869-469-1423 or email them at info@ndmd.kn or ndmdinfo@gmail.com. So I think that's a significant development that the Youth Forum for the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency will be on Nevis from the period 3rd to 5th December 2024. The Nevis Disaster Management Department will also convene its annual summer camp during the period 12th to 23rd August for children between the ages of 5 to 16. Participants will learn safety survival skills, first aid and CPR, water safety, fire safety, wilderness foraging, and road and traffic safety. The objective is to prepare our children to remain calm in the face of adversity and for survival in the event that the island suffers a catastrophic impact. And if you realize the age group, 5 to 16, so we're not leaving anyone out. We invite all, of course, who wish to be a part of this camp to sign up. We encourage, please, all residents and citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis to be vigilant as we are now into the peak of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. All emergency plans that you may have for yourself and your family should be completed at this time. Let me move quickly to the Public Works Department. These men and women under the leadership of the Honorable Spencer Brand and his team, Director Williams, and the entire cohort, they have been transforming the infrastructure on the island of Nevis. They have completed their works that I indicated at the cultural complex, vendor bars. The final asphalt layer was laid at the Butler's Road project from the intersection by the Seventh Adventist Church to the junction by Eden Brown, and that brings to an end the civil works on that project at Butler's, which was spread over 3 phases. There are some final cosmetic and landscaping work to be done, but the civil works are now over. another project delivered by this government. Asphalt was laid in Brownhill from the basketball court down connecting to Low Ground Road. The roadway measured approximately 1,500 feet and is a critical travel corridor linking Brownhill, Montpelier to Low Ground, Cherry Gardens, and of course the Long Point Road. That area is now complete, again, a project delivered by this government. We have now completed the paving and the civil works at the Bath Stream. I referred to that earlier. We started there on Monday, July 22nd, and that work is now complete. Another project delivered by this government. We have also completed the fencing along the northern boundary line of the government house, the official residence and office of the Deputy Governor General. There's also some repair and enhancement work to be done on the buildings on site, and those works are continuing. Another project delivered. The Public Works Department is continuing its efforts to clean and maintain critical waterways and drains on the island. The recent rains did highlight some troubled spots, and we are addressing those areas. I just urge the public that when you see us cleaning the drains and all of that, it is because that is part of our preparation for any eventuality. We need to have our waterways cleared so that guts would run not on the roads, but in the gut. And we are preparing accordingly. To the all-important search for water. Drillers from Trinidad's water and oil well services are expected to be on the island in the early part of next week. The equipment, drill rig, etc. is scheduled to set sail from Trinidad this Friday, July 26th. The shipment of equipment was originally scheduled for July 12th, as I had reported prior. However, due to the recent passing of Hurricane Beryl and its effects on the Windward Islands of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada, the vessel was asked to do some humanitarian runs between those islands. Another vessel had to be secured to transport the drilling rig and equipment to Nevis, and is therefore expected on island early next week. The first well to be drilled will be in Maddens, just above the Maddens tank. Drilling will take 1 week after commencement, with additional time for pump testing and connection to the system. The second location will be in the Braziers area, with Hard Times area potentially being the third area. At the end, we are hoping for an additional 1.5 to 2 million gallons per day of water. Additionally, 13 data loggers have been received to monitor the groundwater levels on the island. This enables us to better manage our groundwater aquifers, especially as we are now embarking on a new drilling program. Mr. Donald Sargent traveled to St. Lucia last month, where he participated in a training workshop which focused on the use of artificial intelligence in water resource management. The workshop focused on essential principles of machine learning in water resource management. A central theme was demonstrating how AI, through machine learning, can significantly improve the management of resources, particularly in assessing risks related to floods and droughts. Work on our desalination plant is ongoing. The finishing touches on the plastering of the building is in progress. Preparations also being made for the foundation for the solar panels. Let me switch now to the Department of Labor. The Department of Labor held its Youth Entrepreneurship Expo on July 2nd, 2024, under the theme Conceptualize, Capitalize, and Convert Your Skills into Cash. This was held where? At the Malcolm Guichard Recreational Park. 17 participants were registered and participated. Presentations on business plan writing, business product branding and marketing, business and financial management were given by Mrs. Kimon Movin Pinney, Ms. Carice Elliott, and Ms. Catherine Forbes, respectively. On Wednesday, July 10th, the youths were able to display their different business products ideas in an open forum at the Malcolm Guichard Park. They were also able to market their business by speaking about the different products and services their businesses offered. 2 of the young entrepreneurs were given the opportunity to participate in the Ministry of Tourism's night market on Saturday, July 6th, and 5 of them will be participating in the Ministry of Agriculture Fruit Festival on August 2nd. All are invited to support the young people in their business endeavors. Let me again, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard me talk about it far too many times perhaps, but it is a consistent theme of this government. We are supportive of small businesses. In fact, we have recently launched a campaign as government where we're using social media to provide support for small businesses in terms of their advertisements. I have, for example, used in my own platforms, On the Mark, a radio show that I host each Wednesday for 2 hours on Von Radio, but also my WhatsApp status and my own Facebook pages to promote local businesses. And so if you have a small business and you want to benefit from that promotion, just reach out. We're here to assist you. I was very, very impressed to hear the testimony from one small business owner who said that since her business was featured, she's overwhelmed with orders from not just here in Nevis, but from abroad as well. And she said she's working day and night to satisfy those orders. Another businesswoman, young businesswoman, commented that within minutes of her business being advertised, she started to receive calls. I'm urging our small business community to advertise. Just this morning, I spoke to a gentleman who said there was a particular small business who was complaining that they were not getting much traffic. And I said to him, I had not heard of them. And you can't get traffic unless people have heard of you. So I asked that gentleman who spoke to me to ask the businesswoman to send me her information. And I've already posted that information to my various platforms as well. And so I encourage you to do that. In fact, last week, Wednesday, and On the Mark, we had 2 hours dedicated to the small business community. Simple idea. But what we did was allow small business people to call in and talk about their business, what they offer, where they can be contacted. And several of them took advantage of the opportunity. I'm very, very proud of that initiative by this government to highlight and promote and advertise and showcase the small business community. And I want you to understand that this is not in isolation. I am saying that now because you realize that I've just reported on the Department of Labor, which had an entire few days at the Malcolm Gishard Park featuring young entrepreneurs, providing training to them in various areas, as I pointed out, business plan writing, business product branding and marketing, and business financial management, all of which are critical if you're going to go into business and make a success of your business. That was the Department of Labor. The government has been going around filming and producing advertisements for small businesses for free. You would have seen a lot of them featured on social media already. And we're capturing people who may not have the money to do an advertisement for themselves. Well, we are assisting. And if we have not got to you yet, please don't despair. We're going around, we're taking it one by one and two by two. But we are exposing our small business community, especially now when there are thousands of people on Nevis who have come home for Culturama and our homecoming celebration. It is a wonderful time for small businesses to earn a little extra money. So please take advantage of the opportunity. Now I'm going to say something here which I hope is not too controversial. The opposition in Nevis has attacked us for promoting small businesses in the way that we're doing. And whilst I understand that the opposition has a role to play in any healthy democracy, I am extending to them the offer of joining us in this initiative. It is not everything, in my view, that we need to oppose. There are some good things that are happening on this island which could benefit from opposition and government working together to promote small businesses. After all, if small businesses succeed, then Nevis succeeds. And so I encourage all. I also encourage those small business owners who are sympathetic to and supporters of the opposition that they too need to get involved. Because I've heard some say, "Me no want this government promote my business." Please, all advertisement is good advertisement. And if you get the opportunity to have your business showcase, please don't let politics stop you. At the end of the day, business is business, politics is politics. And I urge those of you who are in business to remember to keep them separate. Focus on your business. Vote for who you want. But grow your business, develop your business, and that is what I'm interested in as the Premier of Nevis. We have spent a lot of time, members of the press, members of the public, talking about foreign investment. And yes, foreign investment is important. And yes, we want more foreign investment. But there's also such a thing as local investment. And every day we have our local people who are getting up and going out and doing extraordinary things. We must also be willing to celebrate and promote them. And that is what this initiative is about. So when you see me out and about on a Saturday, and I have some fried fish from up by Bit, or I have some fungi and steamed fish from by Mems, or I'm up at Big Six, or wherever I happen to be, and I'm posting something on my social media pages about how good the food is, where this is, believe me, it's not just because I don't have food to eat at home. It is part and parcel of the promotion of small businesses and the encouragement of people to go and get involved, support. And so, small businesses, if you're listening, get involved. This will be an ongoing initiative. It's not a one-off. We are ramped up for Culturama, but it will be an ongoing initiative. I want to publicly commend Mikhail Herbert, who has really been assisting and brainstorming and coming up with creative ways for us to be able to showcase the small business community. And as I talk about small businesses, I don't know if this qualifies as a small business, I hope it does. But I want to also invite members of the public to come up to the Social Security building here in Pinneys, where we have, for the first time, an art display which will be on display for, I'm told, a lengthy enough period. 6 months, I gather? At least 6 months. It will be beautiful if it's permanent, but we're grateful for the 6 months. These are works by artist Howard Payne, and they depict historic Charlestown. And so once you enter the Social Security building, on every floor that is occupied by the government, these beautiful paintings showing various scenes from historic Charlestown are on display. Again, an opportunity to showcase what is going on the island and what we have to offer. So please, we expect, even if you don't have any government business, to come and look at this exhibition that is going on here at the building that is a Social Security building. Let me go back to Public Works. We have, as I've indicated, concluded the work at Pinneys, and I commend Public Works because they did some paving there, and you now have much improved driving experience. We have completed Bath Stream, we have completed Butlers, we've really delivered all of these projects, and I'm truly grateful to them for that and to their leadership. I want to thank Danny, Buju, Dangles, the entire team. If you hear me, members of the press, using some nicknames, it's because sometimes I know the nickname better than the real name. But they know who they are, and they work exceedingly hard. And when I call them by their nickname, the public knows who I'm talking about. Because if I call some of them right name, I don't believe the public would know who I mean. And this is intended to give them the credit that they deserve for the excellent work that they have been doing. And so I thank all of them. Those who are involved with the road preparation, those who are involved with the paving, those who are involved with every aspect of this. Let me move on and now go to Danny Williams. I just called his name. I spoke to Danny Williams a couple of days ago. I speak to him often. He does not work in my ministry. He works in the Ministry of Communications and Works. But I talk to him often because sometimes if I drive around and I see something done, rather than harassing Minister Brand with everything, I sometimes would make a direct call to Danny. And when I called him a few days ago, Danny says, I'm on the airport, I'm headed to Barbuda. I said, Barbuda? And he says, yes, he's going to do some training. So, Danny Williams was invited by the USAID Bureau of Humanitarian Assistance to assist in facilitating the delivery of a damage and needs analysis for first responders and disaster management personnel on the island of Barbuda. This is part of training that the Barbuda Council has requested in collaboration with the National Office of Disaster Services of Antigua and Barbuda. He will assist with the delivery of training course from July 22nd to 24th, and also assist with the conducting of an EOC tabletop simulation exercise on July 25th. Now, why do I say that? Why is that newsworthy? I say that, and it's newsworthy because there are people outside this country, people outside this island, who are seeing the value of what we have and the expertise that we have resident in Nevis. People don't call on others who have nothing to offer. People call on others who have something to offer. And here we have Danny Williams, our own, invited to Barbuda to train people up there. What does that say about Little Nevis? I want our people to feel proud when these things happen, because a lot of times Nevisians say, man, we're from a small island, we're small, you have to sit down in the back, don't make too much noise, don't say too much. But the truth is that wherever we have been in this world, Virgin Islands, Canada, United States, America, United Kingdom, wherever, we have punched above our weight, and we have consistently excelled. And sometimes when you're home, they say a king has no credit, they say in his own kingdom. A lot of times, our first instinct is to criticize our own, devalue our own, say all that is wrong with our own. But guess what? People outside saying, send him here, come train me. Those that we are criticizing here in Nevis, others outside are saying, send he to train me. I believe that speaks for itself. I don't need to belabor the point. We need to cherish our own. And this government, I'm proud of that fact that we have always sought to elevate the people of Nevis and to give them an opportunity in their own island. I got a call recently from a friend on St. Kitts, and he indicated to me that he wanted Nevisians from our public works paving department, those who pave the roads, to get involved with projects on St. Kitts. Why? Because of the high standards and the quality, the technical skills that they possess here on the island of Nevis. Many of you may not even know that Public Works Nevis has routinely gone to St. Kitts to assist them in paving roads. When in St. Kitts they were doing roads in the heart of Bastille. Help me out with the street there. Bank Street? That goes from the circus, go across to the main Pall Mall Square, it's called. Goes across to the big square there in front of the courthouse. Independence. Used to be Pall Mall, I think. Nevisians were called upon, come help us to get this done and get this done right. And I just want to say that that is and could not have been possible without a government that said, we are going to invest in our people. We are going to say to our people, we have confidence in you to deliver. It was not always so. There was a point in this country when no less a person than the leader of this island, to justify giving all of the work to a foreign company, said that when our people came home, they did not know what they were doing. When they come from school, they did not know what they were doing. And that, in his opinion, they must practice, and learn how to drive before the government of the day could invest in them. But if we tell our people that we have no confidence in them, that they must practice, learn how to drive. I believe he said he gave them a road up in Brown Pasture. Let them go up there, go practice. Imagine a situation where I'm division, and I go to the University of the West Indies at the St. Augustine campus, and I do engineering, civil engineering, with my Trinidadian counterpart. We both graduate with honors. He goes on to do whatever he's doing with whatever company in Trinidad. I come home to serve. I'm told by my government that I must go and practice. And when I look, is my classmate who they bring from Trinidad to do the project in Nevis. Well, how would that make me feel? And we said no, as a government, and I'm saying it today because what we are seeing happening on this island is a manifestation of our policy coming into play. The fruition of that policy, saying, give Nevisians a chance. Give them an opportunity in their own island. And they have responded. You hear talk about the complex. I talked about Culturama village. I talk about the road in Butlers, that in Brownhill. I have not even mentioned the water taxi facility. You look across this island, and what you see happening in housing, in infrastructure, in water development, in public works, you see that we are building this island with our own hands, by our own people, for the benefit of our own people. You cannot achieve that, ladies and gentlemen of the press, if you have no confidence in your people. You mustn't tell your own people to go practice and learn how to drive. You must say, you have gone to school like everybody else. You have come back like everybody else. And you must be given an opportunity to show what you can do. You see, we just did the cultural village and cultural complex. A youngster is who we chose to be the architect. Just come back. But he trained in architecture. What should I tell that youngster? I believe his name is Mr. Pemberton. I hope I have it correct. Mr. Pemberton come back a qualified architect. I should tell him, boy, go practice. Go build 2 folk hub before you could come to say you want to do cultural complex. We said no. Give him the opportunity. And look at what he has produced. Look at what he has produced. These, I want our people to understand, are deliberate policy steps being taken by a government that puts its people first. And when those thousands who are here for their family reunions and for the homecoming visit these various sites, I want them to feel extra proud that these were built by us. Nevis is being developed by us and for us. And the Nevis of yesteryear, where people were being told that they must sit down in the back of the bus and they were not good enough, that Nevis is no more. Our people are as good as any, and if I may dare say so, better than most. And they must be given an opportunity in this their born in land, to use some colloquialism. They must be given that opportunity, and that is what you're seeing. Let me try to wrap up now and turn to sports. The TDC Runako Morton Primary School's cricket tournament, I'm told, was a resounding success. And I want to congratulate my alma mater, the Ivor Walters Primary School, which emerged as champions. The Joyce and Liebert Primary School placed second, and the Violet O. Jeffers Nichols Primary School placed third. Incidentally, I started my school life at the Joyce and Liebert Primary School. I then transferred to the Ivor Walters Primary School. So, my 2 schools were first and second. And the Violet O. Jeffers Nichols Primary School placed third. Special commendations are extended to the young cricketers who secured individual and team awards. Batsman with the most runs, Deshaun James, V.O. Jane. Most wickets, Rosen Daniel, Maud Cross Prep. Best wicket keeper was Kenroy Fraser, JLPS. Top female player, Ronnie Isles, St. Thomas's Primary. Most disciplined team, JLPS. MVP of the tournament, Deshaun James, V.O. Jane. Third place player of the game, Deshaun James, V.O. Jane. And finals player of the game, Ajari Cornelius, Ivor Walters. We take the opportunity to say thank you to TDC for their continued support. And we also commend all the coaches, players, and organizers from the Department of Sports for their part in executing this project. Let me turn now to the Republic Bank Five for Fun Primary Schools Cricket. 4 teams traveled to St. Kitts to participate in the Federal Republic Bank Five for Fun Primary Schools Cricket Tournament after competing in a local competition. The Violet O. Jeffers Nichols Primary School emerged as the winners. The Charleston Primary secured the 2nd place spot. Joyce and Libert Primary and Ivor Walters also made it to the semi-finals. We commend the Nevis Cricket Association for spearheading this program for the 2nd year. I just want you to understand that we sent 4 teams to St. Kitts, and all 4 ended up in the top spots in the tournament. Summer sports camp. I've gone back to camps again. The Department of Sports commenced the annual sports camp on Monday, 16 July, with tennis and football. The football camp is being held in collaboration with Mr. Emmanuel Richards, who has been hosting his annual Emmanuel Richards Summer Football Camp for 19 years. Parents are encouraged to register their children for the upcoming camps in swimming, netball, cricket, and basketball. Registration forms are available at the Department of Sports, Reliable Motors Miniplex, and the registration fee is $10 EC per sport. What this means is that you can have your children engage in sporting activities, learning a new sport, practicing their sport during the summer. Let me go on to a further camp. That is the Nevis Public Library. They're hosting the 34th annual summer program under the theme Reduce, Reuse, Recycle for a Healthy Planet. Children between ages of 5 and 8 will attend the camp, while next week students from ages 9 to 12 will engage in the program. So this week they will have children between the ages of 5 and 8, and next week children between the ages of 9 to 12. The camp forms part of the library's contribution to ensure that we achieve our 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Let me now move to a program which is near and dear to my heart, and that is in the Ministry of Education. We would have hosted the 3rd annual Test of Chinese as a Foreign Language, Computer Adaptive Test, Awards ceremony on Friday, 19 July 2024. Attendees were treated to an impressive bilingual speech by Mandarin students Delana Spelling and Emily Prentice Blackett for their well-articulated and impressive bilingual speech and nursery rhymes by students from the Gingerland Secondary School. In attendance were my dear brother and friend, Ambassador Michael Lin, who is the Ambassador of the Republic of China, Taiwan, in St. Kitts and Nevis, and other representatives from the Taiwanese Embassy. Taiwan has partnered with the Ministry of Education to implement the project from its inception. The program is led by Ms. Chi Chen, Mandarin teacher, and offers sessions to secondary students as well as adults. Ms. Chen shared that thus far, the program introduced just during COVID, in fact, thus far, we have offered Mandarin training to just about 600 students. We say congratulations to the 42 students who passed the exam at Novice Level 1, Novice Level 2, and Level 1. We encourage everyone to look out for the start of the new academic year, when additional opportunities will be available for Mandarin language and Taiwanese cultural immersions. Incidentally, I want to commend the Honorable Troy Libert, our Minister of Education, and his team, ably led by our Permanent Secretary, Zanella Claxton, and our newly appointed Principal Education Officer, Landa Brown, and to say to them that Minister Libert, and I say it publicly, is committed to being part of the next cohort of trainees in Mandarin. And I'm contemplating joining him if, of course, my brain will allow at this stage in life. But when I look at some of the persons who are graduating and getting their certificates, I felt there was hope for me, because some of them taught me in school. So we are now teaching students who are at school, and we're teaching adults Mandarin. Now, some people have asked, why Mandarin? Mandarin is spoken by over 1.1 billion people across the world. And we understand the rise of China as an economic power globally. We understand that nearly every bit of equipment in this room, some aspect of it might well have been manufactured in China. We understand that we have close diplomatic ties with Taiwan. And we feel that having our people become multilingual. We have for many years taught French and Spanish in our schools. Since I was a child, we were teaching French and Spanish. We now need to expand that. And some have said, why Mandarin? It's simply because we feel that that equips our young people, and our people more generally, to engage in a rapidly changing world. And it allows them to engage in commerce, it allows them to meet. Language, as we know, is merely a tool to meet and interact with people. And so, would we like to introduce additional languages? Absolutely. But we're able to introduce Mandarin because of a program that I asked for and that the government of the Republic of China, Taiwan responded positively on, to have a Mandarin teacher embedded here in Nevis. I would share with the members of the press that when we did the test of Chinese as a foreign language, computer adaptive tests, Nevis was the first place in the entire region to have offered that test. And so yet again, we are leading in so many important respects. This year, some 42 students would have graduated. And we hope that the cohorts get bigger and bigger. And that students who have graduated at level 1, that they continue on in this journey. I also have another reason. As we know, the Taiwanese government offers scholarships to our young people to study in Taiwan. Many of us don't realize that when those young people get those scholarships, at many of the universities, they have to spend their first year learning Mandarin. And only when they become proficient, they then go on to do the degree. So it occurred to me, I said, well, what if they go to Taiwan already knowing Mandarin? What if since high school they're learning Mandarin to the point where if they do decide to study in Taiwan, they don't have to bother spend a year learning the language. They go straight into their degree program. And are therefore trained more quickly and be able to come back home more quickly to contribute to our national development. And so that too was a reason why we have pushed this. Right now I'm pleased that we have participants, even from St. Kitts, who have come over to be a part of the training here. So we say, Sheshe. Is that what we say? Sheshe. What Sheshe mean again? Thank you. Sheshe. To the Taiwanese government and people. They have done a remarkable job and we hope to continue working with them. There's also been a huge development which I must say something about before I pass on from education. And we've been talking a lot about vocational training. As we know, our education system for a long time was largely centered around the academia and academic training. And there was a general consensus that there was not enough vocational training. And a lot of our people who are plumbers and carpenters and masons and AC, HVAC I think they call it, persons, electricians, that they learn by apprenticeship and they really had no documentation identifying them as having any expertise. And while we know that there are people on this island who could take a plan and put up the biggest building because they could read the plan, they don't have one piece of paper identifying them as a contractor. And the problem that created is that no matter how much knowledge you have in your head, if they were to leave here and go to the United States or elsewhere and try to find a job as a plumber, the first thing people are going to ask you for is your qualification. And many had none to show. In fact, I would say most have none to show. And so we've set about trying to change that. It's a federal national program, but many of you would have known that we put up the first building for TVET at the Gingerland, the grounds of the Gingerland Secondary School. And we have now been training individuals who will then be the trainers. So 19 teachers on Nevis completed the theory and practicum components of the CVQ training program. Level 4 assessor training. Teachers will receive final certification after submitting their portfolios. This training was made possible under the Ministry of Social Empowerment, Women's Employment, Entrepreneurship, and Financial Inclusion Project, which was sponsored by the Republic of China, Taiwan. It's a significant step forward in our TVET program. And so I want to say thank you to all who have been involved, and it has taken a while, but I anticipate that we will now move forward. Now, on my way here, I got a question, so let me answer it now. Somebody asked me, who will be appearing at the Culturama 50 Emancipation Concert? People are in the Culturama mood, so let me tell you now. Let me start with the time. It's going to be 9 p.m. The date, August 3rd. The venue, Nevis Cultural Village. Admission, pre-sold, $90. If you come and you pay at the gate, you're going to pay $100. The entertainment lineup is going to be Friends Band, Smooth Vibes Band, iTabulous, Speedy, SG Presidential Sounds, Reloaded Sounds, DJ Smudge, Core Band, Small Axe Band, Burning Flames out of Antigua, Skinny Banton out of Grenada, Triple K International out of Dominica, Ja Vinci, I believe, out of Jamaica, and the headliners are going to be Bungie Garland and Fayon Lions, backed by their own band, the Vikings LM Band. So, I believe that we have put together a mini music festival for those who are going to come out and be a part of that. Let me just, before I invite questions, say a few other matters. I want to point out that in tourism, I've come in the past to let you know how we're doing, and we're still doing quite well in terms of our tourism. In fact, I was at the Four Seasons this morning prior to coming here, and I am delighted to learn that the Four Seasons is actually going to have a buyout this month in July. That is unheard of, that they will actually be full this month. And our collections from our 2% tourism development levy for July 2024 increased 18.87% over the same period in 2023. Collections for July 2024 have increased 320.38% over 2019, which was our last period before COVID. And we have had a year-to-date increase of our TDL as of June of 6.14%. To put that in terms of real numbers, last year up to June, we had collected $2.5 million. And this year so far, we've collected $2.725 million from our TDL. So I believe it is correct to say that we are moving in the right direction and hopeful that we continue in that vein. I would leave matters there, except to say that I take this opportunity now to invite all of those who have come home for Culturama, all of those who have come home for the homecoming celebration, to a welcome cocktail reception that is being hosted by the government at the Malcolm Guichard Park on Monday, the 29th of July, so that's next Monday, from 5 to 7:30 p.m. So if you're home, whether you're home from somewhere in the Caribbean, you're home from the UK, US, Canada, we're inviting you to come and have a drink and mix and mingle and have an opportunity to meet the members of the government and to bring your concerns, your observations, and also to hear what plans we have as we continue to build out our beautiful island of Nevis. So I'm inviting all who have come home to come to the Malcolm Guichard Park on Monday next week from 5 to 7:30 p.m. for a cocktail event in your honor that we are hosting at that venue. And we're hoping to see you there, and they said the dress code is elegant. So whatever that means, look good, and we look forward to seeing you. I will now open the floor for any questions that members of the press may have. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Mr. Premier. Elke Hewlett, Department of Information. Recently, I saw some photos of a very busy Vance International Amri Airport. Seems like everybody's trying to get to Nevis for C-50. Do you have any figures as it relates to the airlift into the facility recently? Also, on a more serious note, the Social Security Board is proposing an increase in the pension qualification age, possibly to 65 or 67. Would the NIA consider increasing the retirement age to mitigate any revenue or income gap for retirees, if that's the case, if they implement that. On the same note, the Social Security Board is also proposing an increase in the Social Security contribution by both employees and employers. Would that create further increase in the cost of living, considering that persons would be taking home a little less, and then, of course, businesses would be passing that extra expense on to consumers? So it's basically a double whammy. Okay, it seems as though the federal government has done away with the CBI dividend. Do you know if double salary is next on the chopping block? Or double partial salary, whatever they paid last year? And if the federal government does not pay public servants any kind of bonus in Christmas, is the NIA prepared to, minded to, or would consider paying their public servants a little something in December? And I think I'll end it here for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Hewlett. I know that you asked the first question about airlift, and then you say you were going on to more serious things, and you started to talk about bonus for public servants. I'm not sure if you mean that was the most serious thing. It's interesting that let me start there, because it's interesting the way you put it. And I think you've put it the way that most of the public sees it. You say they've done away with the CBI dividend, and whether or not they're going to do away with double salary. And the reason you put it that way, I suspect, Ms. Hewlett, is because we have become now accustomed to the idea that every Christmas public servants are going to get a bonus. I'm not sure where that idea came from and why it is now the customary thing. And I would want to disabuse our minds from that and tell people that their salary is what they work for. They should manage their financial affairs based on their salary, and they should not, how should I say, bank on a double salary or some bonus payment every December. The bonus payment is normally made when there has been a good performance in terms of the country and its economic outlook, and ought not to be seen as an entitlement by persons every single year. I got myself into considerable hot water last year because I indicated that, in my view, bonuses should go to people who deserve it. Bonuses should go to people who have worked hard and have contributed. And I felt then, and I still feel, that giving everybody a bonus is a disincentive to those who work hard. Because if I'm getting the same bonus like the person who's allergic to work, and who's always late and always take 2 hours for lunch and always down at the bar in town drinking rum, then I start to feel to myself that perhaps I ought to put in less effort, because my extra effort, my diligence, is not really being rewarded because I'm getting the same as the bad worker. So for me, it is important that we set some standards. And I have advocated and continue to advocate that what we ought to be doing is compensating people according to their performance. They call it pay for performance. So I believe that there ought to be some criteria, Ms. Hewlett, and that those who satisfy that criteria should be the ones who should put up their hand at the end of the year and say, see me here, give me something extra because I've worked hard. Those who know they have not worked and who already gone and ordered things at courts and hospitals because they expect a double salary, I want to urge them to change that approach. So I don't know what the federal government is going to do, and I don't know what the NIA is going to do. Those are matters for the cabinet, and clearly I'm just one person, I'm not the cabinet. So all I will say is that our people should cut their cloth, cut their suit to suit their cloth. That's how the elderly people used to say. We grew up with that adage. A lot of our people spending money they don't yet have. And then they vex with government because they say, well, I was expecting that I going to get this and I didn't get it, so now I'm in debt. Don't do that. Spend what you have. Order your affairs in accordance with what you know that you're entitled to, not what you feel that you should get. I think that's an important lesson for us. So I won't go any further with that very serious question that you've asked about bonuses to public servants. You talk about Social Security. What I will say is that the proposals from Social Security, as I understand them, are under consultation. In fact, I think I saw something recently saying that Social Security will be having a series of town hall meetings. Raising the age, I believe, Ms. Hewlett, is going to be inevitable. Why? The obvious reason is that people are living longer. And the longer we live, the more pressure will be placed on Social Security. It may sound inelegant of me to put it this way, but the shorter people live, the better it is for Social Security in terms of their payout. So the longer we live, so more people are living into their late 70s and 80s and even 90s. In fact, on Nevis, we now have the most centenarians in the country, and some who are likely, with God's grace, to get to that number in short order as well. So people are living longer. So when people are retiring at 62, but living until 80 or 90, it means that they will be putting considerable pressure on the resources of Social Security. And remember, Social Security is really, how should I put it? It's a financial scheme, meaning those who are working today, the young, the able-bodied, those are the ones who are contributing, and the intention is that those who are contributing will support those who are no longer contributing because they are now retired and elderly. So as our people live longer lives, more productive lives, I think it's inevitable that Social Security will try to increase the age of retirement. Increase the age at which persons will get the benefit. And that too will mean that the government and the private sector may have to respond, because you point out a very valuable observation, that if persons are being asked to retire at 62, say in the government, as is now the rule, but Social Security doesn't kick in until they're 67, it means that they have a 5-year gap in terms of income. So that will have to be looked at, because you don't want, in an effort to save Social Security from going bankrupt, you create hardship in the community. So the government may also have to adjust. We have just adjusted because for many decades the retirement age was 55. And you could understand a retirement age of 55 when people were only living until they're 60 and 65. But now that people are living until they're 70 and 80, and with the quality of life and modern medicine, people are living longer, healthier lives. I was at the 90th birthday party for Miss Mary Herbert from there in Zetlands, an area they call Cocogut, just last weekend, and I was astonished to see the video footage of her dancing with the masquerades at 90. Strong, fully cognizant of everything around her, all her faculties in good order. And so we have the reality that the society is changing. People are living longer, and as a consequence, government, private sector, Social Security will have to change. I don't think people should be afraid of the changes. People should just understand that these are necessary changes as the society and as the island evolves. And so I look forward to the consultation, because the observations you have made are spot on. If employers are asked to pay more, if employees are asked to pay more, how does that impact your cost of living? How does that impact your cost of doing business? All of these are going to be relevant considerations which I think need to be ventilated in the consultation process. Airlift at Vance Armour International Airport, yes, we've had an increase in airlift because people are coming in. Regrettably, Ms. Hewlett, I don't have numbers for you, but we are seeing an increase. In fact, over the last weekend, I think largely fueled by the athletics meet that we had at the Mondo track. We had teams coming in from Antigua, from Anguilla, etc. I want to commend Mr. Timothy Keynes and his team for the partnership that they've created to have the Culturama Games. And that brings in a large cohort of young athletes each year. And so we may have seen a spike over the weekend with those coming in and then, of course, departing after the games. But you are right that we're seeing increased activity there, and we're hopeful that that could continue. I would have mentioned the scheduled services now from St. Thomas daily, St. Croix twice weekly, from Anguilla, from Antigua using Trans-Anguilla, and now 3 times weekly from Wynyard coming out of St. Martin. So we're seeing an uptick in traffic, and we've been trying very hard, of course, as we get ready to launch our program for the development of the Van Samer International Airport. Any other questions for me?
Good morning, Premier Brantley.
Good
Danella Thompson, Von Radio.
Morning, Ms. Thompson.
So the Nevis Culturama Committee, as you stated, would have recently held the C50 Wet Fete. And this is also during a time when the island, as you said, would be suffering from a water supply shortage. So what was the source of water that would have been used for the event, and would it have affected the public water supply on the island? Additionally, can an update be provided on the airport project? Thirdly, what is the status of the dispatcher's emergency system in terms of activation? With the increase of vehicles on Nevis' streets and the expected increase in persons and rentals being on the island, has there or will there be an increase in traffic wardens and officers on the streets, also patrolling for criminal activity and what's not? And finally, following the worldwide cyber issue, which affected airports, healthcare, and financial operations, were there any issues sustained within the NIA or any such reports made to the NIA? Thank you.
Thank you as always for your questions, Ms. Thompson, and for Von Radio for being here diligently to carry this press conference. Let me say that as far as I know, the water that would have been used at the Wet Fete would have come from private sources, meaning that this water is usually not from our public supply, but from cisterns that the providers, the people who provided water, that they would furnish. We have also been blessed recently with some rains. In fact, as you're asking the question, the Lord decided to send the rain to help answer the question that you're asking. And I know you may well say to me that that's not a full answer, because I learned something interesting when the Wet Fete was happening. A young lady told me if rain falls, she's not going to wear. And I said, well, I don't understand, because I would have thought if the rains come, that is more wet for the Wet Fete. But they don't want the rain to wet them. They want the hose to wet them, which is, don't ask me because I don't understand it. But the young lady told me that if rains came, she was not going to the Wet Fete. Right? So it's an interesting thing. But not to make light of it, it's an important question. It is something we agonized over. But I can tell you that through the management of the water facilities and the water resource that we have, you would realize, Ms. Thompson, that we have not had any water woes in recent weeks. And that's because the rains have come, praise be to God for that, and we are managing in a much better way. In fact, I believe the last report we saw from our minister, the Honorable Spencer Brand, he said that our water tanks or water reservoirs were above 75%. So we feel that over the period we should be fine for water management. But my understanding, I put it no higher than that, because I have not checked, but my understanding is that water used for the Wet Fete does not come from our water mains and our water supply. So it should have had no effect on the water supply. The airport project, we have not been saying much about it because we have been involved with Culturama. But the intention is that as soon as Culturama is finished, we are going to go forward with that project. The last phase of the negotiations with one remaining landowner, we are trying to settle that. And once we have settled that, we're ready to move forward. The architects and the engineers have been doing their work in the meantime, so not because you haven't heard much being said, the work has continued. And the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, who's leading that project, has indicated that we will be ready to proceed as soon as this final bit of land is negotiated and secured. So that's where we are, and I will come in subsequent press conferences, I hope, to update you and the members of the media and the public about what's happening. We also anticipate that we will have I believe, another 1 or 2 public town hall meetings about the airport project. Dispatchers, again, as far as I know, that program was initiated already. The dispatchers are working out of our CCTV command center in the heart of Charlestown, and that program should have already been initiated. I believe that they are on staff, they're being paid by the government. That was our part of the responsibility, and as you know, the equipment and the training was provided through the Four Seasons and the Four Seasons Homeowners Association. I believe some additional equipment is due to come, but we have trained a large cohort of persons, not only for the dispatch, but we also train people in CPR, in various response mechanisms. And so that has happened as well, and we're quite proud, because if that project succeeds, it will be the first in the Federation, and we hope that St. Kitts will then adopt what we're doing on the island of Nevis. You asked about the increase of vehicles, a very, very good question. For Culturama 50, most of the car rental agencies are sold out. In fact, if you, like me, drive around, you would have seen that at Wally Hotel, there was a large fleet of rental vehicles over there. That's in fact Hertz rent a car from St. Kitts. They brought over the entire fleet to Nevis for Culturama. So there is a tremendous amount of traffic on the roads. We have invested in the roads, so the roads are nice and smooth. And sometimes people say the roads are so smooth they don't realize how fast they're going. I'm urging persons, please, to drive responsibly, to not drink and drive. And if you're going out to party, to have a designated driver. That person will drink water and juice all night, and that person will do the driving. Because with better roads, the tendency to drive faster is already there, and you infuse that with alcohol and intoxication, you have the potential for quite some catastrophe. As they say in traffic, the life you save might be your own. And so I'm using this pulpit, this rostrum, to encourage our people to drive responsibly. Right now, the way I'm driving on the road when I do drive is once I see a rental plate, I exercise extra caution, because I anticipate that those may be persons who are not from here and don't maybe know all the nooks and crannies. So I urge persons to drive responsibly and to drive at the speed limit. And I certainly will anticipate that the police and the traffic department in particular will be out in force during the season. Ms. Thompson, you may not know, members of the press may not know, but every year the police produce a document setting out how they intend to provide security for the festival. And so we anticipate that the police this year will be no different and do no different, and that, as is the usual course, the forces in Nevis will be augmented by members of the police and security forces on St. Kitts for purposes of the festival. But I certainly urge you and others on the road to drive carefully. Those who are visiting, to drive carefully, and let us go through this Culturama with no incidents of any kind. Cyber issue globally, I gather it was something to do with CrowdStrike, which is a company providing data protection. My understanding from news reports is that it was a software update that they had created which produced this problem, and that it appeared to have been a problem that particularly affected Microsoft users. My understanding from our IT department is that there was no significant effect here, and that our services were not disrupted as a result. So I'm grateful for that. Anything further for me?
Okay, Hewlett, Department of Information. I have 2 questions from Glenn Bart from SKN Newsline over on St. Kitts. He asks, with the highly competitive nature of tourism and given it is a significant component of the Nevis economy, do you believe there is a current capacity for Nevis to expand visitor arrivals for the upcoming tourist season? In addition, please highlight essential components of Nevis's overall tourism development strategy for the next 5 years. His other question Nevis has made important progress in agriculture. Is there substantial scope for agro-processing for high-value niche products aimed at exports? That's from Mr. Bat, SKN Newsline.
Well, taking this last question first, obviously we've been talking about agriculture, agro-processing, value added for some time. And it is an area, in my view, Mr. Bart, that could well do with some additional investment. The government cannot do it alone. We've talked about the poultry industry, which again, we have been delayed, but we are assuring the public that it's something that we continue to work on delivering. And the intention really is to achieve our 25 by 25 agenda, which has been set by CARICOM to reduce imports of food, certain food products by 25% by 2025. We feel we can do that, especially if we're able to get the poultry industry going, because as you know, chicken is the most common and most popular dish, meat kind, used by our people. So there is some room there for agro-processing, and it's an area that we're actively pushing and encouraging private sector investment. We have mangoes, for example, and I commented recently to someone that early in June we had so much mango available on the island. Mangoes in abundance, all varieties. And here we are in July and mangoes are now scarce. We have enough mangoes during mango season that we should never be out of mango in Nevis. And all we need to do is agro-process it. We need to preserve it. We need to pulp it, we need to freeze it, we need to convert it into other things. But really and truly, you should be able to have Emripoli or whatever your favorite mango is all year round. So those are things that talk about value added. Imagine our Emripoli mango reaching the tables all around the world. Why not? But we really need persons to invest. And many people sit back and wait for government. But these areas, I think, are ripe for private sector investment. Mr. Bart has asked for a 5-year strategy. Mr. Bart, this is a press conference that is scheduled to end soon. Don't know if I can give you a 5-year strategy. What I will say to you is that we have been continuing to promote Nevis to the segment of the market to which we cater. That is the high-end segment, the more affluent segment. I would have mentioned earlier our new initiative in relation to African-American travelers, and the fact that we've just appointed what we're calling a diversity ambassador to get us into some of those rooms, to talk to different groups and to create a more diverse, but still our yardstick is affluent customer base. We have been doing quite well based on the numbers that I would have quoted earlier in terms of our tax receipts and returns, in terms of the occupancy. And so we see the capacity is certainly there to expand further. You know, we have had the debate for a long time about Nevis needing more hotels. And obviously the investment would be good. But we also have a situation where most of the hotels would tell us that annually their occupancy is 60% or less. So that tells us that for a significant part of the year, we have 40% or more of our hotel rooms empty. It would seem logical to me, therefore, that before we start to talk about more hotels and more hotel rooms, that we develop strategies to fill the existing hotel rooms for more of the year. And that's why I mentioned earlier that I was so pleased that the Four Seasons is saying that they have buyouts in July. Because ordinarily at this point, occupancy falls off the cliff and they don't have many people on the island. But that has changed. The culture has changed. We see more people traveling. We have seen more pent-up demand since COVID. And so, Mr. Bart, we continue to press on. But we do feel that we have the capacity year over year to increase the numbers of visitors that are coming to Nevis and who are helping to keep our restaurants, our allied sectors, our fisheries, fisher folk, our lobster divers, our conch divers, our transportation sector, our bus drivers and taxi drivers, keep them all afloat. So we're certainly looking forward to that and to ensuring that we have a product that is world class and a product that people desire. And so this playbook, ladies playbook undertaking that I spoke to earlier, where we're now getting a direct line into the National Football League, into the Players Association, into the wives of the NFL players. As a matter of fact, Mrs. Burleson, or Toya Burleson, who's leading this charge, said to us that it is the wives who decide with a family holiday. And I said, great. So if the wives can decide we're going to go to Nevis, then that's a beautiful thing for us. So that is what we're trying to do. So we're partnering in very significant ways, and I want to publicly thank the Four Seasons Resort, the new manager Billy Cueto, and his team. They have really been solid partners for us as we continue in our efforts to promote the island of Nevis. Any more questions for me?
Elke Hewlett, one final question. Your last response actually correlates to what I wanted to ask. Nevis appears to have become the liming hotspot in the Federation in recent years. I moved from St. Kitts to Nevis, and when I go out here, I swear I'm back in St. Kitts the amount of petitions I see. Whether it's during the daytime coming over to the beach for lunch or attending events, whether sporting events, whatever, you just are seeing more inter-island travel. What do you attribute this upsurge in popularity in relation to St. Kitts and Nevis and the travel?
Good government in Nevis. Good government in Nevis. Good policies in Nevis. You know, let me go back, because I say it, and I know people out there listening will smile, and some may even see it as a little funny. But I want our people to understand that as a government, we are constantly thinking. We're constantly trying to see what we can do better. During COVID, I go back there, Nevis was at a standstill. Hotels were closing, borders were closed, the island was in trouble. We saw our revenue dwindle away to almost nothing. And we brainstormed, and as Minister of Tourism, I came up with the idea of saying, listen, if we can't travel out, then invite people to travel internally. And so we came up with this idea of staycation, where we invited our brothers and sisters in St. Kitts to come and see Nevis and spend time in Nevis. And I'm telling you that there were some hotels in Nevis like Oali and some of the smaller hotels that initiative kept afloat. So a lot of Kittitians were coming over. And then during COVID, we adopted a different approach to the federal government. In that, we allowed in Nevis some activities to occur. I recall that there was a particular event, I think it was called Faded, and it happened at weekends on the beach. And I happened to pass through, and some youngsters from St. Kitts told me how grateful they were that they could come out and enjoy themselves. And it was because, again, the government said we had to innovate. We couldn't just sit back and allow the island to die. And so Kittitians, I remember being at Sunshines one night and speaking to two Kittitians, and they said to me that Nevis had become their Miami, because they were accustomed to going to Miami for the weekend. They can't travel now, so they came to Nevis. And we used that opportunity, difficult as it was, to introduce Nevis to a new generation of Kittitians. Because many of us in this country will be surprised to know that a lot of Kittitians had never set foot on Nevis before. You tell them Charlestown, they get lost, they have no idea, because they've never come. Many of them were of the view that Nevis had nothing to offer. So when we started the marketing campaign, come to Nevis, come over, enjoy what this part of your country had to offer. When they came and they saw, they were astonished. And they kept coming back. And they brought their families. You know, one of the biggest complaints we've had about the MGR Park is because that splash pad was not working. It's coming from the Kittitians. They come over with their families, they come over with the groups of children, and they complain that the splash pad has not been working. Well, as I said today, it has been fixed, so please come back. I met a young man during the Mango Festival, and he said to me that he came over on the Saturday from St. Kitts. And he said when he went down on the Pinneys and he saw all the development and all that was going on, he decided there was no way he going back over to St. Kitts. So he slept in his car. And he apologized to me that he had not showered. But he wanted to remain in Nevis for the whole weekend. So he had nowhere to stay. He slept in his car. And this was his testimonial to me at the Mango Festival. I say all that to say that when I say good government, good policies, it's because none of this, Ms. Hewlett, has been in isolation. When we decided to invest in the water taxi facility, we had a maelstrom of opposition. A lot of people had all kinds of negative things to say. But look at the logic that was behind that decision by the government. Islander, Blue Wave, all of the water taxi operators in the Federation now are based in Nevis. It's a Nevision business. And so who better to support them than the Nevis government? So when we got money, we invested in that facility. And who among us, even the harshest critic, will not admit that that water taxi facility has transformed transportation between the two islands? So, Ms. Hewlett, you're seeing people from St. Kitts. The reason for that is because it's easy now for them to come to Nevis. They hop on a boat at Reggae Beach in 5 minutes, they're in Nevis. They hop on a boat in Nevis in 5 minutes, they're in St. Kitts. They can now go over because of the schedule. They have dinner at Park Hyatt, they have dinner at Marriott. I was so surprised to speak to somebody recently who tells me he regularly goes to St. Kitts on the weekend to go to Spratnet, all the way down in Old Road, because of the convenience of the water taxi. You see, a lot of times when governments have good policies, people benefit from it, but they're not at the same time connecting it to the government and the vision that the government had. But it is this government that had that vision to put that water taxi facility in place. As a result of that, Plug-Eye, Vincent Perkins and all of them, they've continued to invest. Plug-Eye now have a place they call On the Rocks. I went there the other night. If you have not gone there yet, please, you should go and visit. Fantastic. The views of the ocean, just simply incredible. All of that has come about because of that investment made by the government in the water taxi facility. So a lot of times when I say ignore the noise, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I say it because we know what we're doing. We have been focused and resolute on creating a necessary environment for people to prosper. When I go over, and every time I go now by the water taxi, I see a new face. Working for Blue Wave, working for Islander, young people. I go on the boat, I see a new captain. We have assisted in creating an entirely new industry on the island of Nevis. And that was deliberate government strategy. So you see, I mentioned COVID and telling St. Kitts people, come Nevis. A lot of I say, our grandparents and things, come and see. Come and go up Raleigh and down Hanley's Road and Brickhill and see where your people are from. And they responded because people felt, what they call it, outside again? People were inside. So Nevis became the new hot spot for them to come. And when they came, because hospitality is in our blood, it's in our DNA, we treated them well. So they came over and enjoyed Nevis, they enjoyed the spot. And they went back and they told their friends, and their friends told their friends, and so all of a sudden, it is not unusual now for them to come to Nevis, to go to the restaurants. You go down on the beach on a weekend, filled with kitchens. Filled with kitchens, and I can assure you that during Culturama, they're going to be up here on the road, they're going to be up here looking mango, they're going to be on the beach, they're going to be everywhere. And that again, Ms. Hewlett, is a deliberate strategy by the government. I want people to see it and understand it. We have invested to the point where the local business community now feels confident that there is a way for them to make money. So when you go over to the water taxi facility and you now see the buzz, the back and forth, it's not by accident. Investment we made in the reception area so people can sit in comfort before they travel. It is not by accident. Yes, we did not have the money to do it all at once. But we are building out the vision for Nevis, the vision for Nevis as we go. And I'm hopeful that Nevisians who are fair, those at home and those abroad, will say they're seeing the benefits of it. Because a lot of people would walk down and use that water taxi facility, jump on, use the convenience, even make money from it, and they still say nothing is happening in Nevis. The government not do nothing. Because they refuse to see the value. So you ask the question, why are Kittians coming? Because Nevis is nice. And the people in St. Kitts recognize that Nevis is nice and they want to be up here with us. This is their country, and I tell them so all the time. When you're tired of Market Street, come up and enjoy Low Street. Right? Change of environment, change of scenery. St. Kitts is fast and frenetic. That's the pace over there. Nevis is laid back. So when you want to change that pace, you want to relax. I hope you all see all the threads connecting my press conference today, no? Because I talked about people going to the hot spring and taking a book and doing painting and relaxing. So Kittitians who want to relax, come over, spend the day, spend the weekend. And I want the people of St. Kitts to reconnect with their Nevisian roots. I can't tell you, I served as foreign minister for 7 years. And every chance I got in St. Kitts, I went around. Found my way down in St. Paul's by a bar and all of that. And I'm telling you, Miss Hewlett, I am amazed at the number of Kittitians who tell me that their father, their grandfather, their mother, their grandmother is from Nevis. And they go on to say they've never been to Nevis. They have no knowledge of Nevis. Some of them might tell them, I'm sure you have land in Nevis. I'm sure you have property in Nevis. Right? So we need them to come home. We need them to reacquaint themselves. This is their island. Your mother, your father from here, your grandmother, your grandfather from here. You must come and reacquaint yourself. Even the former Prime Minister said he father from here. But come and acquaint yourself. Learn about this island, because so many in St. Kitts. People tell me when you go to Keon, you go to Newtown, you go over to St. Paul's. Anywhere in St. Kitts where you had sugar, a significant sugar operation, there are significant populations that trace their roots to Nevis. So it's natural for them to come. And we have made it easy for them, and we have made it welcoming for them. And you know, in Nevis, we treat everybody well. Nevis is not one of those islands where when you go, people say, oh, you're tourists, so they treat you better than you treat the locals. Everybody gets treated well. So when Kittitians come over, they get first-class VIP treatment. That's what we offer. And that's why they're coming. Mango Festival, Culturama, you name it. Our Kittitian brothers and sisters have rediscovered Nevis. And for those who are coming for the first time, they can't believe how nice Nevis is. I love when I drive down and see them taking pictures by the Nevis nice sign and posting it. And again, you know, little things. That Nevis nice sign that was designed in my kitchen at home. I want to thank my wife and 2 daughters, because they had the idea and I said I want the design, and they came up and then we sent it to Vaughn. And Vaughn said, no, you know, like this, and Vaughn refined it. But the idea, because what we wanted something there that everybody who comes could take a photo by and then post it. You know what that does? Creates. And you're not even paying for that. It creates momentum. I'm saying these things, Ms. Hewlett, because I want people to understand that these things are not happening by accident. These things are systematic planning and thinking. And I'm not suggesting that we always get it right. Sometimes things go horribly awry. But when we do get it right, I think the public needs to recognize that these are deliberate decisions that are taken. And so the surge of Kittitians you see coming to Nevis on a regular basis really started with that promotion we did during COVID, when people were encouraged to come. People discovered Nevis, and so people have kept coming back. One fellow told me he actually keeps a vehicle parked in Nevis. Right? So when he comes, he just jumps into his vehicle and goes. And we have made it so convenient for persons to go back and forth. So I think good government, good investment, good policies, that is what has fueled this. And we have really created an environment where people feel comfortable and people feel welcomed. And the hotels and the restaurants, the taxis, all of those in Nevis have been the beneficiaries of that. And when they come off the water taxi, we make sure they have a good road to drive on. So nobody getting no shake up in Nevis on the roads now. They drive around in comfort. We make sure that when they come, they have water in their pipe and they have electricity. So they don't have any problems. We have invested. You know, I was accused once politically, they say I spend bad. You remember that? And I want to say, yes, I spend bad. I spend badly to develop Nevis. That's why we ain't got a water problem. We ain't got an electricity problem. We have good road. We're developing our hospital and our healthcare facility. That's why we have CT scan. We have mammogram. That is why we have new treasury building, new police station in Newcastle, water taxi facility. Not just a pier, a nice reception area. That's why we have the Bath Stream. That's why we have the Pinneys Park. Because we spend bad. We are spending on the development of Nevis in a systemic and orderly and sensible way. My only regret is I don't have more money to do it faster. But we're doing it as it happens. And I want Nevisians not to take it for granted. Whenever you use that water taxi and you get on and you marvel at how convenient it is, understand that that was a deliberate government policy that put that in place. And it hasn't taken away from Charlestown because people are traveling through Charlestown as well in large numbers. So I hope I've answered your question, Ms. Hewlett. Anything further from me, Ms. Thompson? Nothing? Okay, Ms. Hewlett, your friends and singers haven't sent so many questions today. Everybody's in Culturama mode, so I want to end by wishing everyone a safe Culturama, to invite our brothers and sisters from St. Kitts to come over in their numbers. As I like to tell them, this is your country. Come see it, come experience it, and come enjoy Culturama 50. And for all of those who are home, I end by welcoming you home again and encouraging you to come out to our cocktail reception on Monday, 29 July from 5 to 7:30 p.m. at the MGR Park, where we hope to be able to mix and commingle with those of us who are coming out.
Social Security announcement.
Oh, I'm told that Social Security is having a town hall meeting on Wednesday, 24th July. That's tomorrow?
Yes.
At the Red Cross building here at Chapel Street, Charlestown. Thank you, Ms. Hewlett. So I did say that they're having some consultations, so you have an opportunity to go. And the question you're asking me, you could ask them, right? What are they intending to do? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Enjoy your Culturama. Enjoy Nevis. Try all the restaurants, try all the food, try all the various amenities that this island has to offer. This is your island, and we're grateful. And please come to the government headquarters, the Social Security building, to see our first art exhibition by Howard Payne. He'll be here for a few months. And so I thank those involved. I see Deborah is here. Thank you very much. I used to call her my family. You know, Mr. Huggins, you involved in that as well? Mr. Huggins is here. They're patrons of the art in Nevis, of the arts, I'm sorry. And they have both come from Canada to assist us. Both have spent time in Canada. So you see, they are part of the wave that's coming home. So I'm grateful to them, and I invite persons to come and really see that art exhibition of historic Charlestown. Thank you very much, and God bless you, and have a great Culturama, everyone.